G'day Knuckleheads, Uncle Knackers here. Well, the slab's down, so it's time to do some framing. But before I do that, I want to re-stump and re-level this old existing part of the house because currently it's a bit out of whack. So we'll work on that first, and once that's done, then we'll have a crack at doing some wall framing. So whenever you re-level or re-stump a house, you need to find a point where all your heights are taken from, and that's called the datum point. And in my instance, my datum point is right here. And I determined that because the new hallway comes through here and through to the new house. The new slab is just there. And the height of that slab was determined from that datum point. So when I re-level this house, that datum point there is where all the heights will be taken from. So to make life a little simpler, I'm going to be removing these wall linings. Bang, 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 and bang. Now these were going to be removed anyway, but by doing it now, that will give my laser a nice clean, clear line of sight. So that should make re-leveling the floor a little easier. Now these wall linings are the old horsehair plaster type, so they're as heavy as lead, and as a result I just can't pull them down in one big sheet because I'm doing it by myself and it's just too heavy and too awkward. So what I intend to do is to get my grinder and cut a horizontal line along the entire length of that wall. That way I can remove each piece bit by bit. And just be aware that when using a grinder to do this sort of job, that you've checked for any power or water pipes that may be running through those walls. All of mine have been terminated, so all's good. And also just be aware that this is going to create a truckload of dust and it's going to be noisy. So make sure you've got your hearing protection and your dust mask on. Alrighty, let's do it. Told you it was going to be dusty. So this is what I'm talking about when I refer to a horsehair wall lining. It's just a whole heap of fibres encased in plaster. It's very heavy and an absolute pain to remove. So the boys have already taken out the stumps. There's one just there, one right here. They're in the process now of taking out that one there in front of that earth spike, and there's one that they've taken out behind that tap. Now once they re-stump this, they'll jack the house up back to its original level. Beautiful. So at the end of play today, you can see that the boys have removed all the offending piers and have done that right throughout the house. They've then redug the holes and then filled those holes with concrete, and that should dry overnight. They'll come back tomorrow and then jack up off these piers where necessary to get the floor nice and level. And once that's done, I'll get these Besser blocks, lay them on top of those pads and up and underneath the bearer, and they'll act as the new piers. Can't wait. A level house. That'll be novel. And this is the level that we use to determine our floor heights. And you can see how the laser shoots out a red beam, and that red beam goes right around the perimeter of the building. And the objective is to find your datum point, which is that top black mark on the architrave. Now grab your tape measure, place it on the ground and find out what that measurement is where the red line strikes the tape. And in this instance, it's 1.50 m, or about 41¼ inches. Now, what we're trying to achieve is to get that red mark on the tape to read the same as what it is over there at that datum point, which was 1.50 m. In the corner of the house, right here, it's now reading 1.80 m. So we need to jack this corner up 30 mm, and you do that procedure throughout the entire house. So after all the lasering had been done, this is what we came up with. We have a mud map of our little old house, and each of these numbers represents a measurement for a pier or a stump, and at that point we have our datum. Now you'll notice that in this corner we had to jack the house up by 30 mm to get back to that datum point. Over here, up 25, up 15, up 10 and up 20, and we actually replaced all of those piers. We also replaced this one here because it had fallen over. But the real drama came when we had to lower the floor in this area by 30 mm. Now that caused a few dramas, but we got there in the end. It was just a little bit tricky. And yes, that is a picture of Fred Flintstone. So this is the floor that was lowered by 30 mm. It's fantastic now, but earlier, if you're lying in bed, you had to strap yourself in, because if you didn't, you'd roll out. And bang, through the magic of video, the house is now re-piered, and it's also sitting nice and level. And you might also notice how I've still got some jacks in place. That's because the mortar, which is holding these piers together, is still a bit wet. That'll be dry by tomorrow, and then I'll lower down those jacks. Job's done. I'm a very happy camper. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed and found useful my video on re-leveling and re-piering a house. And a special thank you has to go out to Tony and Corey, who did a fantastic job. Well done, fellas. Now, as per usual, a big thumbs up is greatly appreciated, and if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. Alrighty, cup of tea or a beer? It's almost beer o'clock. I think I'll have a beer. So till next time, I'm out of here. Cheers.